Hello, everybody. We're talking all things prepping your business for the holidays. And I'm so glad that you are with us, either watching live or watching the replay. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for taking the time to invest in yourself. Thank you for taking the time to invest in your business. It's so incredibly important when it comes to really stepping up, leveling up our business, being able to reach our goals, being able to get more out of the business that we are so passionate about, because we don't all get into business just because we think that it's going to be the easy way. It's definitely not that. We do have a passion for what we do. And by investing in yourself and taking time to grow in the areas that you perhaps aren't as experienced in is exactly how you're going to be able to level up your business, both towards the end of this year and heading into next year as well. So I'm so incredibly thrilled that you are here. Before we start, I do want to acknowledge that we are recording this replay, and also presenting tonight on Biripi land, and I pay my respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. I'm so honoured to be here on this land and to be able to present for you tonight. I'm going to work you through my business preparation checklist so that you can have holidays in peace. Because I don't know about you, but so many of my holidays in the past running my own business have been spent just checking my email, or just doing a few hours work, or just going to check this thing or do this project or get this done or get this thing to somebody else. And you know what? You get to the end of the holidays and you go, I didn't even feel like a break. But I am completely committed this year to taking an extra amount of time off, to actually stepping away from each of my businesses. And I hope that you are too, because I don't know about you, but after the last 3 years, I really do feel like I need a bit of a recharge. I feel like I need a bit of a top up in the energy stores. So I'm going to walk you through what I'm doing to prepare my business in the hope that it can help you prepare your business as well. So today we're going to be covering the to-do list, not just the to-do list that's your everyday to-do list, but why it's important to have more than one to-do list on the go at the moment, at this time of the year. We're going to talk about the communication that you're going to send to all of the stakeholders in your business, including your out-of-office dates. We're going to walk through your out-of-office message and how to make this work for you instead of against you. And we're going to talk about the 3 most important scheduling tasks you must do before you go on leave. But first, we're almost there. We're almost there. The holidays are so close that I feel like I can taste it. If you've put time aside for yourself, then good for you. If you haven't yet put time aside for yourself, then I totally encourage you to set some time. I know that we are all torn in a million different directions at this time of year, especially if we're celebrating festivities and the holidays. We've got family coming to stay. We've got a million things on, but putting aside some time and blocking out some time for yourself, for you, even if it's just an hour or two that you get to step away from all of the obligations that you have and just take yourself, somewhere quiet for some downtime. I want you to have that on the forefront of your mind as we launch into today. And when you think, oh, this all sounds like a lot of preparation and organization, yes, it is, but it's going to be worth it. And hopefully by looking at this cool, calm crystal water, it will remind you that, yes, when you get to that time off and when you do get that opportunity to recharge, all of this preparation will be worth it. So let's start with our to-do list and why it's important to have more than one to-do list going on at the same time. Now, for any of you who've worked with me before, I have a really robust to-do list system. And here is a copy of what my to-do list looks like on a daily basis. You can get a copy for yourself by scanning the QR code in the corner. But my to-do list system is what works for me. And the most important thing about a to-do list system is that it works for you, and that whatever it is that you choose to do, whether it's electronic, whether it's an app, whether it's a diary, a journal, a notebook, a yellow, notepad like the lawyers have, whatever works for you and whatever you are using, as long as you're using the system, then hopefully you can get the most out of it. This is the system that works for me, but it's most important that whatever system you choose, you're using it on a daily basis. You don't kind of just write your things down and then set it aside, because that's not going to help you be productive either in your business life or in your home life. But when it comes to this time of year, we want to be thinking about 2 different to-do lists. And I like to break those up into the things that I'm going to do now and the things that I am happy to do later. So when I'm talking about the things that I'm doing now, I'm thinking about when I'm finishing up for the year, and I'm finishing up on the 18th of December this year. So I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to get done from now through till the 18th of December? And those things are going on my to-do now list, because those are the things that need to get done. Those are the things that are important. Those are the things that are perhaps urgent. Those are the things that other people are waiting for me, to get done so that they can get their jobs done. And it's important to be realistic about what you can and can't get done between now and when you want to start your time off. All of us have had that time where we've sat down and written a list, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And then we feel really rushed and stressed. I know when I travel, I'm so guilty of doing this. I know what day the plane is taking off and what day my flight is booked, but I manage to shove, so many things between when I'm getting ready and when I'm actually leaving, that by the time I get on the plane, I often burst into tears. And that's a habit of mine that I'm trying to break. And it's the same with this time off. You don't want to absolutely chock-a-block full the time that you have between now and when you go on leave, but you do want to be able to identify the things that you need to get done, those things that are urgent and important. Because the last thing you want is a long list of things that don't get done that will send you off to the holidays feeling like you've failed, feeling like you haven't achieved what you want to achieve. So you want to make it realistic, and you want to make sure that you are really clarifying those things that you need to get done now and those things that can wait for later. So the things that you can do later, those things that can happen in the new year, perhaps you want to, clean up your desk. Perhaps you want to, do some research on a particular topic. Perhaps you've got a project that's kicking off next year that you want to do some preliminary research for. Those things are things that are not urgent before you go on leave, and those things that can wait till next year. So really be clear about those things that are going on your to-do later list. And if you want to go one step further, and we'll talk about forward planning a little bit later, but if you want to go that one step further, actually put in your diary when you're going to do that. So not only are you making a to-do later list, but if you're thinking, I want to do that preliminary research for that project that's coming up, I'm going to block out some time in my first week back in the office. I'm going to spend 2 hours. I'm going to get stuck into it, and I'm going to schedule it. So give that a go, rather than just kind of going, oh, look at all these things that need doing, and then getting completely overwhelmed through all of that. I really want you to try and break up all of these things that you need to get done so that you are feeling like, okay, I've got this, I can get through. The second thing is to communicate. Communicate with your team, communicate with your customers, communicate with your suppliers, communicate with all of the stakeholders in your business as to what is happening at this time of the year. And I was so guilty in the early days of my business in really feeling like I didn't deserve to have time off, feeling like if I take time off, people are going to think I'm slacking off. People are going to think I'm lazy. People are going to think that I'm, not passionate about my business anymore. And so I used to really martyr at this time of year. I'd be like, I'm working so hard. It's Christmas Day and I'm still working. Like, please. And what I've learned is that nobody is interested in how hard I'm working over the holidays. Nobody cares. And that if I don't communicate what is happening to my team and to the stakeholders in my business, if I don't set those boundaries, then nobody knows what's going on. And when people don't feel like they know what's going on, that makes people uneasy. So you want to be really clear with your communications when it comes to letting everybody know what's happening. You want to make sure that you are communicating to everybody, I'm taking leave from this time to this time. I'll be checking email from this time to this time, or I won't be turning on my computer from this time to this time. You will not hear from me from here till then. Being really clear with that communication really just sets expectations for people, because if people are back in the office, perhaps everybody is going back on the 4th of December, but you've decided you're not going back till the 10th. Those 6 days between the 4th and the 10th, when people are back at work and they need things from you and they're not getting a reply to their emails, or they're calling your phone constantly and you're thinking, go away, I'm on the beach, I don't want to hear from you. That's really going to cause friction, so that when you get back to work, or when you are leading up to going back to work, you're going to feel quite stressed about that entire situation. So with clear communication, you can really avoid those sticky situations and those iffy situations. You can avoid that the phone keeps ringing and I'm on the beach and I don't want to answer it feeling. I have a tendency to leave my phone upstairs next to my bed when in the holidays, and just leave it on the charger, and then off I go and I'm doing things. I'm out in the garden, or I'm in the pool with the kids, or we're going to the beach, and coming back to the phone when I used to not communicate what I was doing, I would come back upstairs, like creeping back upstairs to the phone, like, and not want to look at it because I know that it's going to say 52 missed calls or 52 messages or 52 emails. But now, knowing that everybody knows that I'm not answering my phone between this time and this time, I can easily walk back up to my phone and there's nothing there. Yeah, nobody needs me. Nobody wants me because they understand that I'm not back until the 10th. So whatever it is that you choose to do, it's really, really important that you're going to make a plan to communicate that to all the important people in your business. So you want to think about your out of office. So you want to either send send all the key stakeholders in your business an email ahead of time and say, hey, just letting you know, this is my final week in the office. I'm heading off on leave on Friday. I'm going to be out of the office from this date till this date, and I'll be back. Here's the, emergency contact number. Here's the email address if you need, X, Y, and Z, and make that really clear. You want to set up an email responder that's going to let everybody know that you are out of the office, so that if somebody sends you an email and they're after something in particular, they get an automated response from you that says, go away. I'm not going to be there. And you want to think about doing a holiday email or, some kind of message that's going out to all of your customers that, not only wishes them a happy holidays, but also really sets those boundaries really clear in terms of when you will and will not be responding to correspondence over the next little period. It's important to remember to change your voicemail message. And I say this because I'm terribly guilty of it. When I went to New York in July, I set my new voice message as I was walking down the jetway onto the plane, like at the very last minute. And I'm like walking down, dragging my suitcase and changing my voicemail message. And then I came back from New York and forgot to change it back for 2 months. And people kept seeing me down the street or at the grocery store and they'd be like, oh, hello. Hey. And I was like, why are people responding so shockingly every time they see me? And it's because they'd been calling me and it said, hi, I'm in New York. So when they actually saw me in the grocery store, they were like, oh, I think this is confusing. I thought you were in New York. So it is important to remember to set your voicemail message, to set the start and set the finish. And if you've got a fancy phone that you can set a timer on it, this will be the voice message that will happen from this date to this date, then go ahead and set that up so that you don't, lead people astray thinking that you're on holidays all the way through till March. And if you want to, as part of your newsletter that's going out this month or going out this week or going out this fortnight, I would include a holiday message as part of that as well. Make that part of your communication. So if you are, getting in touch with your customers, you're wishing them happy holidays, then you're reinforcing those boundaries. We'll be in the office from these dates. We'll be checking email on these dates, or we won't be there at all. So that's just 5 ways that you can get in touch with people and make sure that that communication point is really, really clear. But if you're unsure of where to start, I have a couple of templates for you, which you'll get in the download if you're watching the replay, and I will put in the chat for you to be able to get your own copy. And I've done a couple of different versions, and I'll share 2 of them with you here. But, one is quite formal, obviously. Hi there. Thank you for your email. I'm currently out of the office until enter the date here with limited access to email. If you require immediate assistance, please contact. Here's the, here's the email address, or here's the phone number of somebody who's going to actually care while you're on holidays. Until then, have a fabulous festive season. I look forward to reconnecting with you in the new year. Kind regards. Whatever your sign off is, you can add in there. The more informal option is, hi there. We love a good festive season at enter your business name here, but we're currently away from our desks and making the most of it. We return to business as usual, enter the date, so you can expect a reply from us then. Need a TV streaming recommendation in the meantime? Here's our hit list. I love Ted Lasso. Everybody's watching The Crown, and of course, White Lotus. And you can always add your own options in there. Merry everything, and then whatever sign off that you're used to using. So you will get a copy of those templates as part of your download, and feel free to copy and paste and add them in. I cannot wait to see all of them pop up in my inbox over the next week or 2 as you start to take your own leave. When it comes to scheduling, it's really important to make sure that you are really clear on the time that you are taking off, and that your socials, that your emails, that your payroll, that everything is scheduled and ready to go now, so that you don't have to think about it as we get closer. And this, full disclosure, this year is the first year that I've actually been like preemptive for my scheduling for the Christmas break. Normally, it's me taking a family photo on Christmas morning, standing in the kitchen when I'm supposed to be like, what's it called? Glazing the ham. That's the word. When I'm supposed to be glazing the ham, posting Happy Christmas from everybody at Port Macquarie Performing Arts. Not this year. Those posts are already done and ready to go. So I want you to think about what you need to schedule now so that you don't have that moment in the kitchen where you would love to be concentrating on your family, but instead you're concentrating on that post that you've forgotten to schedule prior. So I want you to think about how you're going to schedule all of your content for the holidays. Do you release a podcast episode every week? Do you release a newsletter every fortnight? Do you want to make sure that you getting in touch with everybody as all of the special dates come along? We do at Port Macquarie Performing Arts a countdown of all the best things we did this year. But again, that's not something I normally think about until, 5 days out from the new year. And I go, I got to go through the top 10. And because I've left it this late, I have to do two a day. But we've already done that. We've already scheduled it. It's already organized. So patting myself on the back as I'm talking to you, because I want you to be as organized and have this, glowing feeling that I have right now, because you too are super organized. So what systems do you have in place to keep everything running smoothly? Do you have a scheduling system that you use? Do you have somebody on your marketing team that can help you with this? And what content do you want to get ready? As I said, for Port Macquarie Performing Arts, we've already done our Christmas post. It's going to look like that, and it's scheduled to come out on the 25th of December. The Happy New Year one is also done, and it's all ready to go for Simply Stacey Morgan. They're a little bit more low key, but the Christmas post is ready and the Happy 2023 post is ready, and we've got those scheduled. I encourage you to make sure that you have at least a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year scheduled for your socials, for your business. And then if you want to add anything extra to that as well, feel free to get creative when it comes to those scheduled posts. I just copied and pasted this from my emails because it came through like 2 days ago. And I thought that would be interesting to add, because this is obviously, it's not from me. It's from Dr. Justin Coulson. I'm subscribed to his newsletter. And so he sent this newsletter out and obviously scheduled it and got it done and got it out nice and early. So another great example of something that can be scheduled, something that can go out to your to all the stakeholders within your business, and something that I'm sure he doesn't even have to think about now that he's already set it up, scheduled it, and it's been sent out to everybody. He probably went on holidays a week ago, and here we go, getting, feeling nice and warm and fuzzy, and it looks really pretty too. So I thought that was really great. Do what you can to be creative. And as a bonus, you want to make sure that you're thinking about payroll and bill payments. Do not wait until you are just getting text messages from your employees saying, have the pays gone through today? To remember that the Thursday after Christmas is the day that you're supposed to be doing payroll, or, the Thursday before Christmas, or sometime during that time of leave. You want to really make sure that you're on top of that. And not only you want to make sure your employees are on top of that as well. If they have obligations that they need to do, if they've got timesheets they need to get put in, or if they've got leave that they need to apply for, remind them now so that that is all done and tied up beautifully with a bow before it's time for you to go on leave, because that is the last thing that you want to be fussing around and doing. And it's the same with your bill payments as well. Anything that you can schedule to go out, anything that you want to kind of get off your plate before you go, please don't leave those things till when you come back, because it's not great for your cash flow to come back to your office in January and then find that you've got a stack of bills that you need to get paid and to get out of there. It means for a very lean January after a very big Christmas. Nobody wants that. So make sure you're on top of those as well. Alrighty, I'm going to give you one song to be able to go through and just get all of that nutted out. To be able to put down for yourself, perhaps a list of things that you want to get done before you go on leave, perhaps a list of things that you want to get scheduled, perhaps you want to sketch yourself a little design of something that you would like to put together for your Christmas message, whatever it is that you would like to get together. I'm going to give you one song to do that. And tonight's song is going to be, I can turn it on, inspired by Fleetwood Mac, because of course we lost Christine McVie from Fleetwood Mac, and I'm a big Fleetwood Mac fan. Listened to lots of Fleetwood Mac in my house growing up, and losing her this week was really devastating. So all of the webinars and coaching sessions I've done this week have been inspired by Christine's best Fleetwood Mac songs, I think. So Here's one song for you to do a brain dump. Get everything out of your head, get all of the things down on paper, start making those 2 to-do lists, start going through the things that you have to get done and dividing them up. And I'm going to talk to you in 3 minutes' time. How did we go? All out of your head, hopefully. You know, so many people think about our brains as a storage facility, but the brain dump helps you remember that actually your brain is a superhighway. You've got information coming in and out. Yes, I can see that. Beautiful. Thank you for picking up to show me, Carrie. Gorgeous. Your brain is a superhighway. You have information coming in and out all the time. So you need to have different external storage facilities for all of the information. And doing a brain dump and getting things onto your to-do list is a really good way to be able to keep that, brain of yours nice and clear, not at all foggy, so that you can have new bright ideas and innovate in your business and be creative and all those things that are fun. All right. So I know what you're thinking. Now that I'm organized for the break, how am I going to get organized for 2023? How am I going to keep this momentum going into 2023? Well, we talked earlier about your to-do list. So make sure whatever to-do list system you are using is robust. Make sure that whatever you're doing works for you and that you are continually using it. You want to get yourself a weekly planner to put on your desk so that you can separate your tasks and things that you need to get done, those action steps that are going to step you closer to your goals. You want to make sure that you've got them separated out so that you can see really clearly from the outset what your week looks like, what you've got coming at you, so that nothing is, jumping up to scare you. or you don't have deadlines that suddenly appear. You want to make sure you're all over it. And this time of the year is the perfect time to create your ideal week. So it's the perfect time to be able to map out what you want your perfect week to look like next year. And I say perfect, but I could also say ideal. I could also say intentional. You know, this planning session, this actually sitting down and nutting out what you want your life to look like, is the part that so many people miss, and they kind of feel like their whole life is a freight train that's, you know, left the station and is moving, that they have no control over. The ideal week and creating the ideal week is a really good way to kind of get you back in your body and get you back remembering that, no, actually, I do have control over how I'm spending my time, and I'm going to map it out and be intentional about it. So I like to take a worksheet like this, and I get, you know, my spreadsheets from lauravanderkam.com, because Laura Vanderkam is the queen when it comes to organizing your life and running your business. You can find all of her templates and fabulous downloads at lauravanderkam.com. But I love to get a blank one of these, and I love to put in, first of all the work that I need to do. So, you know, when I know that I'm teaching, or when I know that I'm coaching, or when I know that I have programs, then I like to put in the meals, because sometimes we forget to eat if we get a little bit too busy. So I like to put in, you know, when I'm having breakfast, when I'm having lunch, when I'm having dinner. I like to put in sleep. I need 8 hours of sleep every night. You might be different. You might need less. You might need more, but I definitely need 8 hours. And if I don't get that, then I get a little nutty. So I like to block out that time, and I know that I need to be in bed by 9:30 in order for that to happen. And, you know, that is like a absolute non-negotiable for me. So that goes into my ideal work pretty early. And then, of course, I spend most of my life being an Uber to my kids' activities. So that has to go in. I need to make sure that I'm getting Patrick to tennis on a Monday and Lucinda to art on a Thursday, and all of the things in between. And then I like to add to my ideal week the things that I would really like to have. So I'd like to, you know, go for a walk on the beach on a Thursday, or go for an early morning breakfast on a Monday. I'd like to go to bed early. You know, I love using that as a sleep in. Going to bed an hour early. I might be still getting up at the same time, but if I've had an extra hour's sleep, it just feels this, you know, a little bit indulgent. And, you know, some days it would be really nice to have somebody else do the school pickup, so I can work that little bit longer, or I can have that little bit of extra time to be able to get things done. So I write those things in. I have a look at my schedule. I reach out to people when I need to ask for help. And I think about the things that I need to sacrifice or organize in order to make those things happen. Because I'm very lucky to have people around me. I've got friends that would, you know, step up and help. I've got fellow, you know, parents that have kids the same age as my kids, perhaps doing the same activities. I've got family around me as well. I've also got, I'm very lucky and very privileged to have paid help as well, people that can come in and babysit my kids, or drop them to their activities and things like that. And if you haven't thought about ways in which you're going to make 2023 as smooth as possible for you, then I encourage you to get stuck into this ideal week exercise and to nut it out for yourself, so that you head into 2023 feeling really on top of all of the things that you have to do, and really feeling like you have control over your time and the way that you're going to use your time in the new year. We, of course, do not rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. So I want you to make sure that you've got systems in place to be able to keep moving forward. Systems like scheduling tools, systems like your out of office responder, systems like a monthly newsletter. Have those systems in place, and that will help you be more organized. It will help you make the most of the time that you have. And most importantly, it will give you time back to work on the things in your business that are really important to you, or to spend that time on the things in your life that are really important to you as well. If you want to join us as part of the conversation, feel free to join our free Facebook group, How to Run a Successful Business and Still Have a Life. There, I assure you, the little picture that I've got there, the screen grab says 6 members. There's a lot more than 6 members in there right now, but that's from the early days. So I encourage you to come across to Facebook and join us. If you're not already listening to my podcast, How to Run a Successful Business and Still Have a Life, you can listen to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. The holidays are a great time to binge podcasts. And if you haven't listened to my podcast from the top, perhaps, you know, head to the top and work your way through. Global Leaders Thrive is also another great podcast that you should listen to, and Carrie's on the call today. So a little plug for Carrie's fabulous podcast as well. And finally, if you want to work with me in 2023, time's fully booked for 2022. But if you want to get stuck in and get in early so that we can start your year off with some momentum, then book a coaching session or 2 or 3 with me for 2023. And up until the end of this week, if you buy 2 sessions, you'll get 1 free along with that little special deal. So you can go to simplystacymorgan.com/coaching if you would like to take advantage of that. All righty. Any questions? Anything that's come up?
Stacey, you have 4 businesses.
I do.
So I understand that the 8 hours sleep really is crucial to 4 businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to ask the question, did you deliberately think you would end at this point in time, you would have 4 businesses?
No. They've all been a natural evolution from one to the next. I have always had businesses or a business. I've always had a side hustle. I think from when I was really young. I think I used to put on shows for my family members on the back veranda and charge people to enter, and like steal chips out of the pantry and, charge people $1 for the snacks. Like I was always entrepreneur. Yes, I was always enterprising. And so I feel like I've always had a side hustle, but my side hustle of Port Macquarie Performing Arts had to become my main thing when I was working at the radio station and doing PMPA, because I was just ragged. I was just running myself ragged. And Heath and I were trying to have a baby at the time, and that wasn't happening because we were never seeing each other, and apparently that's important. So it was really like it went from my side hustle to my main hustle really, really quickly. And then everything else has kind of just grown on top of that. My podcasting is, because I miss my radio days, and so that kind of merged into that. The business coaching is because people kept coming to me and asking for my advice, and that's kind of grown from that. And the additional dance school also came because somebody said, do you want my dance school? So it's, one thing has led to the next. Never did I sit down and say 4 is the goal or 10 is the goal. No, I didn't sit down and say that. But, with every new thing that gets added, I have to think about how I'm going to spread out my time and doing my ideal week, and, what are my non-negotiables? What things can I sacrifice and what things can I not sacrifice? Or will I choose not to sacrifice? Putting the kids to bed or having breakfast with the kids in the morning, like how can I juggle those things? And I don't get it right every day, but doing the ideal week at least sets Heath and I up for, okay, what would we ideally like to happen? 80% of the time we'll get there. And the other 20 we can make up on the weekends.
Look, that's an interesting thing about what you're willing to negotiate around, because one of the things I've been saying to people is, what are you going to subtract? If you keep adding, what are you going to subtract? And in the last 3 months, I've had a double fractured foot in a boot, so my mobility, so I've actually could not get to the gym, do all the walking that I used to do. So that's been a major plus. Then I got another dose of COVID. Then we had a family funeral that was quite, all this starts to add up. So it really gave me an opportunity to think about, what are you going to subtract? What do you really want to do that's the main goal? Because if I said to you, and I say to myself, what gives you the most joy? I mean, you've got a whole range of things that are all connected in some place, and they all involve people. So would I be wrong in saying you actually enjoy the people element of all the things that you do?
Yes, and my therapist says it's important to think about not just the joy that you get in the moment, because a lot of things, I don't know if you find this, that I will think, oh, I'll dread it as I'm going to it, but when I get there, I'm really joyous. And she says that doesn't count. She says that it has to be a feeling of, you have to have that feeling of joy thinking about it. When you're trying to prioritize, I'm not saying cutting things out completely, but when you're trying to prioritize, because I do say, I love all of the different elements of all of the different roles. And she helps me to be really clear as to, okay, yes, you do love them. They're all perhaps, an 8, 9, or 10 on the happiness scale, but what's the 10 and what's the 8 and how do you differentiate? And that's the, on the days where I haven't had 8 hours sleep and I am feeling really tired, and perhaps one of the kids is sick, if I'm driving to work and I'm going, oh gosh, this is hard, then perhaps that's the 8. Because there are some things that I'm driving, and no matter how terrible my day is going, I'm still like, let's do this. It's an interesting task to set out all of your obligations and do exactly that. Subtract the ones that don't bring you as much joy.
I know. And then you put a little bit of Fleetwood Mac on and you're home and hosed.
Wasn't that nice? Wasn't that nice just spending a little time with Fleetwood Mac?
I know. There's a great song out of Houston, Texas, by the Suffers.
Oh, yes.
And it's all about, I've got to walk every day. I've just got to get out and walk every day. And when I was out walking, which I'm getting back to now, that was just major. And for every American city,
Take Me to the Good Times.
Yes, Take Me to the Good Times, which is the theme song that Brené Brown uses for her podcast.
Yes.
But if you actually think about that, and we could, Human Nature did a song where they did a whole lot of different cities in the States as well. I think it's time to actually do one here in Australia. Not just Slim Dusty's version, right?
Yeah.
But it's beautiful. There's something about music, image, music, and nature that actually adds to all of these things that we do. So
yeah. And so part of our ideal week that, the kids and I talked about was we have Saturdays together. And so what are we going to do on Saturdays that's going to fill us all up? And the kids at the moment are really tactile and really wanting to get stuck into things. So we keep trying to find adventures that we can go on where they're going to find mud, or they're going to find puddles, or they're going to find sand, or they're going to find, stuff that they can get filthy, which drives me mental. But hey, the things we do. So that getting out into nature is part of my ideal week on a Saturday, because there's not a lot of nature Monday to Friday as I'm in the thick of it. But on Saturdays, we do be really conscious about taking that time and getting out of our comfort zone and getting out of town and, going somewhere different, experiencing somewhere different. So that nature time is important for recharging.
Oh, I just thought of what do they call them? The mud runs or the colour runs?
Yes.
I mean, that's something that you could all do as again. On my way to pick up 2 grandkids today from the Sydney airport, I happened to walk down to the terminal with a lass who was going to Port Macquarie. So we had a bit of a chat. Of course, anyway, she has a business management, outfitting various things. And I said, I actually know some sensational gals in Port Macquarie. She said, do you? I said, I do. And so I went through a number of which you were there. And I said, you really need to look out for these girls when you're. She said, I love it up there. And she said, and I usually drive. She said, it's only 4 hours away. I usually drive. But she said, I thought I'd treat myself today and fly. And I said, by the time we get through the traffic here, you parked your car. I said, it's going to be 4 hours. You could have got to Port Macquarie.
Yeah.
It was funny that she mentioned it, and I was on a call with you tonight. So there you go.
She should be here. I love that. That's awesome.
It's the people. Thanks for tonight. Some great hints. Yeah.
Thank you, Carrie. I appreciate you being here. And thanks to everybody else joining me live and on the replay. So appreciate your attendance. And don't forget, you can reach out at any time. If there's ever anything that you feel I can help you with, my email address is hello@simplystacymorgan.com. And you can check out all of my offerings at simplystacymorgan.com, my website. Have a wonderful holiday. I look forward to reading your out of offices. I look forward to seeing that you are taking some time for yourself. I look forward to seeing you perhaps posting or not posting on social media, disappearing from social media for a little while. And I look forward to talking to you at our next session, which will be in January. Have a great night.